There you are.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
I am Tara. This is my mom, Jill. We are living on a dime. And today we are talking about how to get organized when you are overwhelmed, which most people, that seems like their number one thing that they have is that they are overwhelmed. And you don't have to do a big program. You don't have to go buy a whole bunch of things. You can just get on it and do it. And all right, Mother.
Yeah, you a lot of times people spend an hour, 2 hours on Pinterest, on YouTube, studying all the how to get organized, the cleaning products, getting cleaning products. And somehow in their mind, they think that they've actually gotten organized and clean, but they haven't done anything. If you would just take that time that you spend on there doing that and actually doing the work, you would be amazed how much you can get done. So,
you mean it actually takes work to get organized?
It does. And so, stop just spending hours trying to figure out how to get organized. I think the best example was we have a picture of Jack when he was about 2 or 3. He spilled Cheerios all over the floor, and he immediately walked over to the closet, got the broom out, the dustpan out, and was going to clean up those Cheerios. It doesn't take a rocket science to figure if there's a mess on the floor that you need to pick the mess up. You mean
a 3-year-old can do it?
A 3-year-old can do it. And so a lot of people study more how to do it and what to do and how to do it exactly right instead of actually doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I've known people that have been perfectionists too, and they tend to have mounds of dirty dishes and piles of stuff because they spend so long trying to make sure they're doing it perfect that they never really get anything done. So you have to watch yourself, and make sure that you're not doing that.
Sharon says it's easier to keep up than catch up. That's pretty much
exactly it. Once you get it all together, if you're feeling overwhelmed now and you think there's no way I can get this done, once you get it all done, you can take an hour a day, most 2 hours a day, to keep on top of everything.
Oh, have mercy. If people had to spend 2 hours a day keeping their house clean, they would never do it.
Well, it doesn't really take that long unless you have like 5 or 6 kids and an extra big house and stuff. But an hour, the average household is an hour just to keep it, because you got to realize every day the kids pick up their bedroom. Every day the family room has been picked up. So when you get up in the morning, you don't have a huge mess in the house to clean each day.
Yeah.
And so, yes, if you keep picking up and you keep on top of it, then once you get it organized, and if you're feeling really overwhelmed right now and don't even know where to start, I've got a list here of about 6 things that I want to read off to you for you to at least get up and do it. And that's the secret. Stand up and just start doing it.
Okay, so what do we do if we're overwhelmed? What are the tips we do?
Well, first of all, to have a jump start, if you're really in bad shape, here's a jump start list for you to do. And then I'll get into details on other things on how to organize and clean. But these are simple things. Make your bed. Do these 6 things the first day, and you'll be off to a great start. Make your bed. Make your kids' bed if you can. It takes 2 minutes to make your bed. Now, if you're spending more than 2 to 3 minutes to make your bed in the morning, it's probably because you've got mounds of pillows and throws. Get it simplified down. Part of the reason you don't feel like making your bed is you have to spend all this time fluffing and putting all these pillows on. So everything I'm talking about, look at it. How can I simplify this? Is this taking me too long because I've got too much of something?
Well, so I actually timed it because making my bed used to be one of the things I hated the most. Literally 30 seconds. Literally 30 seconds to make the bed.
It takes me 30 seconds too. But if you have 2 people sleeping and you've got a lot of throw pillows, it might take 2 minutes. But
even then.
So make the beds. Second, wash your dishes and clean off the counters. If you can just go into the kitchen and start with your sink and the counters surrounding it and get those dishes washed and cleaned off. Don't worry about anything else that's a mess in the house. Just get that done. Pick a spot. It can be just a small area by the front door, any spot, or the back door. And for the moment, you don't even need to hang fancy hooks or do anything like this. Just have put a table, or do it right on the floor if you have to. A spot where you can put your keys, your purse, the backpacks, your shoes and coats, and make sure that those are there. The bedrooms may be a mess, but you make everybody find that the night before and have those things laying right there in that spot. Clear off your dining room table. You would be amazed how it changes your life to have the table that you're going to eat dinner on or breakfast on. Get it cleared off. It won't take you that long. I bet you anything, even if it's piled this high, it shouldn't take you more than 15 or 20 minutes if you hurry through. That doesn't mean you're going to sit there and sort through every paper. If you've got a stack of bills and papers that need to go through, throw those all in a box and leave it for one evening when you're sitting watching TV. Don't stand there and look through each paper. Just gather up all the papers, throw them in a box. Get the table cleared off no matter what it takes. Dirty dishes in there to be cleaned, or in the sink, to be cleaned, that type of thing.
Okay, hold on. Let's talk about the papers real quick. So I got this comment yesterday, or it was an email anyway, that said, I get all kinds of mail from all these organizations that I donate to, and I feel like it's not being respectful of them if I don't read every one of their solicitations that they send me. And I'm just overwhelmed with mail and magazines, and I just don't know what to do with all this paper. Stop feeling guilty about not reading the mail from organizations you donate to. They're not sending you money. So you know that if you just go to throw that away, it's not going to really matter in the big scheme of things. And if you're that overwhelmed when you donate, you need to tell them, please do not send me any solicitation. Because if you have all of that coming in, 10, 20 pieces of mail every day that you think you have to go through, Mike and I donate to several places. 95% of it just goes in the trash.
Well, do you know how many things we do like this? It's because of guilt.
Yeah.
And you've got to get that emotional problem taken care of, or you will be paralyzed with it. It can won't be able to get anything done if you live with guilt like that. And that's not even really reasonable guilt. Just throw those things out. Would you rather make them feel bad that they don't even know they're feeling bad? I mean, they have no idea that you're throwing this stuff out or anything, or you're being disrespectful. They know everybody throws that stuff out. And the thing is, is that more important what they think and what's concerning them than your family and living in a nice environment, stress-free environment without mom being stressed over the masses of magazines and mail and stuff? What is more important? You've got to get your priorities straight here. Stop worrying about somebody off someplace else that don't even know you, that you don't know. You're more concerned about them and their stuff than you are your own family. Put your family first and start doing that. We just put everybody else first. We put the environment first.
But put yourself first.
Or yourself, yeah.
Why are you letting these organizations control your life?
Yeah, they're controlling you.
You're letting these organizations that you donate to, no matter how good they are, control your life. Really?
And the thing is, they're manipulating you too.
Yeah.
Even if they're a good organization, they know how to do marketing, and they know that people like you can be easily manipulated. I have is it pride? I don't know if it's pride. Self-confidence maybe is what I should call it, to allow somebody to manipulate me like that. You can't keep being manipulated like that by these things.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And then some of you guys have questions about that. We'll get to those as soon as we get done with the tips. Okay, go ahead. Next one.
Get the dining room table cleaned off one way or the other. Then quickly go through the house and, first of all, run through the house and pick up all the trash. The trash, you can see the obvious trash, empty paper, snack bags, cups, paper cups, stuff like that, papers and things. Just throw them in the trash and just gather up the trash, nothing but the trash. Then after you get all the trash gathered up, gather up all the clothing that's in the rooms they shouldn't be in, like in the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom. Those rooms should not have clothing in them. Gather up the clothing and put it in the dirty clothes where it belongs. You've got a lot accomplished, and I bet you it won't even take you an hour, hour and a half to get this, even if it's bad. Now, if it's knee deep, it might be a little bit different. It might take 2 or 3 hours. But if you
start doing something.
But do it. Just do as much as you can. If you can't do all these 6 things on the first day, pick out 2 of them that you can do. Can you make the bed, and can you get the backpacks and that put by the door? Do you know how much stress that will relieve to have your keys and purse and everything in one spot in the morning where you can find it? And then at night when you go to bed, to get into a bed that's made up nice and neat. Those 2 things would lower your stress level like you can't even believe. Did you want to do questions?
Nope.
No.
Go ahead.
Well, I got all the 6 that I was going to do done for that.
For that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is, Cherry says, how long do I keep paperwork stuff? So you really don't need to keep most of it for more than 3 months. So like your receipts and all that, most companies don't allow you returns after 90 days.
Mhm.
Kohl's maybe does, so I might keep your Kohl's receipts, but Walmart and all those places for the receipts, you can't return stuff. It's usually 30 to 90 days. So just dump that. And what I would do is just keep a file folder, put the new receipts at the back, and just go in and just dump a chunk. I mean, and the important ones, like your electric blanket has a lifetime warranty or something, then those need to go in a separate folder that you keep for the lifetime of that product then. Bills. You don't need to keep bills for more than 3 months. Most people don't take their, like we can take part of our house off of our taxes because we use it for a business. So we have to keep our bills for that. Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
So just dump them after 3 months or a year, whatever time frame you feel okay with. Magazines, make a nice neat pile by your chair where you sit and read. If you're not through with them in 2 months, grab the bottom section of the pile and put it in the recycle or donate them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just be ruthless and let it go. You
Yeah.
can't get sentimental. You can't get upset over these things. You have to just say, I am freeing myself of this and I am letting it go.
And one thing too, we don't realize now, like we keep the one section of the bills. Usually you have a cancel check or something, online, that if you do need it for some reason in the future, you can usually get a copy of it somehow. There's very few things that you can't not get a copy of now.
Yeah. And even now, like Dawn says, what do you do with receipts for your taxes? Okay. You just put them in a tax folder.
Yeah.
I just keep a folder that's 2022 taxes. Every receipt just goes in there.
Yeah. I keep a folder for receipts, and then I have a folder where I put my bills, my stubs for my bills or different things like that, and those 2 folders. And I stand there, I open up my mail, I take and lay it, and then as soon as I get everything, the bills taken care of, I automatically put it in that file. Keep the file out open on your desk. If you have it in a file cabinet, closed in a desk somehow, you're not going to bother to open it and use it. If you keep those 2 or 3 files sitting on your desk, you'll just automatically slip it in there when you need to.
Stephanie says, my clutter is from when my dad died. Listen, your dad does not want you to be burdened by that clutter. You need to let it go. If you want to keep some of his clothes or ties or shirts or something and make a quilt or a throw or a pillow or something as a memory, that's fine. But the majority of that stuff, he's not going to care if you get rid of it.
No. And as other family members, if they want the things, spread it out. And then you just need to sort through and pick out the most precious things. And it's okay to have a few boxes.
And keep those things, display them so you have them as a memory. Don't just leave them laying in a box.
Yeah.
Like I have some of my...
You can have boxes though of stuff.
Yeah.
But rotate them out. Use the different stuff.
Yeah. So...
And use it.
All right. Next one is... Elaine says, I have no closets and a tiny house. I don't want to be a minimalist. Help. Well, then you need to buy a bigger house. Listen, here's the thing. If you have a tiny house, you don't have to be a minimalist, but you're going to have to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You have to make a choice. Sometimes some of these things you can't have everything.
No.
You'll have to make choices.
You can't have enough stuff that fits in a 4,700 square foot house in a house that's 1,000 square feet or less.
There's some things that just won't.
You can't do it.
Won't.
You're going to have to get you're going to have to have a reality check and get some perspective here. Yeah. Let's see.
And if you're going to put it all in a storage shed, why are you even keeping it if you're just storing it for months and months in a
Well, and then
storage
she
shed.
says, I have no closets and only 3 full kitchen cabinets. Where do I put stuff? It's in a corner in every room now. Well, then you get yourself nice little cabinet of like a drawer set or a desk type thing, or just little shelves, cabinet door. Get you anything that you can put them in there. I've lived in apartments a lot, and I would have cabinets that I would move that I would use as extra storage. So that's totally fine. You can find them at thrift stores for free on Facebook Marketplace all the time.
And I do say, don't spend hours on watching things on organizing, but if you're doing it in a practical way, for example, if you need tips and ideas of what types of cabinets little tiny houses or apartments are using, that's okay to go online and get ideas. I'm not saying don't ever go online, but this is one place where you could go online and get some ideas of what other people are using,
Yeah. I mean, go through and do what you can, but you also have to be reasonable about this. You may not be able to keep all this stuff. I mean, you have to think about this. And when I have this dilemma, I always think, okay, if I was a missionary to a foreign country and I could only take one trunk, what would I take? Everything else really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Now, it's nice to have those things, and I love my stuff, and I am not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to kind of keep yourself in a reality check also. So, anyway, yeah. Let's see. Do you want to go on to your next one, or do you want another question?
I'll take another question.
Okay, well, this one's for me. Karen, having fibromyalgia, I just look at a room and get overwhelmed. Okay, I have fibromyalgia. I've had it for 33 years.
And I've got chronic fatigue syndrome, so I know exactly.
It's no excuse.
Yeah.
You got to get your butt up and do it anyway. So for that, what we do is our 5-minute cleaning.
Yeah, our 5-minute cleaning. So what that means is I discovered this when I first got sick with my CFS. And I was sitting there, and what I do is the day I felt a little bit good, I'd get up and kill myself trying to get as much done because I hadn't done anything for so long. Well, then I'd make myself sick again. So what I had to do is find out how to pace myself to get stuff done, but pace myself so I didn't get sick again or worse, And so I would sit there, and usually I was just vegging out in front of the TV, and there'd be a 5-minute commercial come on. In that 5-minute commercial, I'd force myself, whether I felt like it or not, to stand up, and I would go in and do 5 minutes worth of something. I got dishes washed in 5 minutes time. I mean, I got laundry folded in 5 minutes time. As soon as the 5 minutes was over, I'd make myself go sit down, and I'd rest until the next 5-minute commercial came on. Then I'd get up and do the next thing. You would be amazed at what you can do. And if there's something that happens in your mind that if you're only going to be doing it 5 minutes, even though you're exhausted and don't feel good and you're so sick, if you can get yourself up and just, it's only going to be 5 minutes and you think, I can endure this for 5 minutes. I can force myself to do it. Somehow you're able to do that, and it's helped a lot of people. We've had a lot of people say they've done the 5-minute method and it really helps them. So,
okay. So, what's her name? I'm sorry. Susan says, what should your daily task be? Okay. 2022 planner, guys. We still have some of these left. I think we're going to stop selling them January 31st. I think, not for sure yet. So if you want one, grab it. But in our 2022 planner, right here, I have daily clean and organize. So this is what you should do every single day. Make your bed, do the dishes, do 1 load of laundry if you have a family, wipe the bathroom sink, empty the trash can, usually the big trash can in the kitchen, pick up your clothes from either the room or your closet, pick up toys if you have kids, do a general pickup, clear the bar, clear where you dump your mail, all that kind of stuff, and organize and clean 1 drawer or 1 shelf every single day. And then you will eventually keep cycling around and have everything organized.
Yeah. And now you can play this tape back and hear what she says and go through that list if you want. We give this is a general list of general things to do. And be careful because there's a lot of organizers out there and people that have, and it helps some people. These organize, have these, you can go to their websites or whatever, and they tell you at 5 o'clock you do this, at 5:30 you do that, and you've got to do this many things a day and this, and they list every little detail and every little time and every day that you should be doing all that stuff. Be careful. This will help. That type of method will help maybe 5%, 10 at the most of the people that are wanting to get organized. What happens, the other 90% or so fall off the bandwagon, and they get in even worse shape than they were before, because they get overwhelmed trying to stick to somebody else's strict list.
Mm-hmm.
Your family's different. Your life is different. Your amount of kids that you have is different.
Yeah, but there are basic things. You got to make the bed. You got to do the dishes. You got to empty the trash. Those are.
See, we've got just the few basics that you have to do, but be aware of these places that have you scheduled up for every single minute. They don't work as well as if you just take a list of things that need to be done and schedule them into your life as you need them. I just want you, because I don't want you to jump on and start buying all these books and different things like how to get organized, blah, 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 and how to do all this. Because half the time, every time I hear people say, oh, I love this, it was so wonderful, and I was on it for a month. Well, I need to get back on it, I'm sure. It didn't work. If they're only doing it for a month or 2 months and you're finding yourself not doing it anymore, it didn't really work to keep you in the habit of a lifetime of being organized.
Linda says, I have started the 5-minute organize several times a day, and I'm getting compliments on my living room and kitchen.
Way to go. Yeah, it really makes a difference if you just get up, because it's not too much. It's just a little bit of something you're doing. Yeah. You know, the list of stuff I just gave you, like clear the dining room table. Get up in that 5-minute thing. Clear the dining room table.
Alicia, we got your card. Thank you so much. We liked seeing your picture. I think we got it like 3 or 4 days ago. Let's see. Most of the stuff that comes from thrift stores, so it can also be back if needed. I only have about 10 really sentimental items. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of stuff for my mom, for my grandmas and stuff, but I actually use them, you know, and so it's fine if you use that stuff. But if you don't use it, then just get rid of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, stop burdening yourself with this stuff when you really don't need to. Okay, let's go back to our 25 little tips.
Okay. Whoops. I'm trying to decide. Let's do this. To actually do the organizing and start cleaning things, stop looking at the whole picture of everything that's a mess in the house and concentrate. I've mentioned this before. Concentrate on one aspect. And instead of thinking, I got to clean out all the closets, think, I'm going to go in and do one shelf in the closet.
I'm going to do my shirts today.
Or one section of the closet. Mm-hmm. That's again with the 5-minute thing. You know, you could do that. Or like Tara said, with the list of stuff she gave you, you clean one shelf, you clean one section of the closet, you maybe clean underneath the bathroom sink. Pick one little section that you want to do. Purge. This is, you've got to get rid of things. You've got to toss it, whatever you want to call it. Stop holding on to stuff. I've known people to keep boxes and boxes of their children's school papers and things like that. And the kids have said, I don't know why my mom kept all this stuff. They don't mean anything to them when they get, older. They have other things. Their life's busy. They don't want it. So don't go through and be very ruthless on this, but it means so much. Well, then pick out one paper from every school year, 2 papers or 2 drawings from every school year. Box those up and keep those. You don't have to keep every math paper that they ever did in their whole life. Be ruthless and get strong. If you're serious about this, you're going to have to just tear your heart out a little bit and get rid of some things, and do that. If it's not adding to or making your life easier, get rid of it. If you don't get enjoyment of it, one of the things people do is sometimes they'll buy things and it didn't work out for them. And they keep it. They say, I kept a salad shooter in my cabinet for like 10 years. I'd used it 3 times. I hated it. I had to take it apart to can wash it and clean it. By the time I got that done, I could have made the salad and chopped it and everything for the amount of time it took me to use that salad shooter. It took a big section of my kitchen cabinet, took up a big section in there, but we spent a lot of money on it, so I kept it. Why? Do you feel guilty? I mean, if you feel guilty, don't keep the thing. Just get rid of it and still feel guilty, but don't keep it in your house. Some reason by keeping it makes us feel better about making our mistake, like we're punishing ourselves, is what I'm trying to say, for making the mistake. So get rid of this stuff if you're not using it and it's not helping. If it's ugly and doesn't work, toss it. And no, I'm not talking about your husbands, ladies. Michael's sitting over there. He's not listening.
I don't think he's laughing.
No, he's not laughing very hard.
Wait, what
But
did you say?
I said, if it's ugly and doesn't work, toss it. I mean, why are you keeping stuff like that? Just let it go. You got to let this stuff go. If you don't use it, if it's the wrong thing or the wrong color, once again, throw it out. Let's see. Oh, and stop making excuses. It takes too long. It's going to take me too long to get organized. I don't know where to start, and so I'll do it later. And you keep putting it off. I've used this example before, but I was standing cooking, waiting for my water to boil for my spaghetti noodles one day. And I had to open the cabinet and get a spice out. And I thought, I've got to clean that spice section of my spice cabinet out. I said, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, it takes 8 minutes for water to boil for spaghetti noodles. For the noodles to boil. I was waiting for them to finish cooking. And so I thought, I started cleaning it out. I thought, what am I waiting for? I've got this section of time, get it cleaned. I pulled everything out of that one little cabinet, wiped it down, put everything back clean and nice and neat. And my spaghetti still wasn't cooked. That's how little time it took me. So start doing these little things in little bites of time. It's like the thing we have in the book about how do you eat an elephant. You eat it one bite at a time. So this is a big elephant in your room, in your whole house. So start doing it just one little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had other questions.
Diane Dime Dice, 25% off right now. That wonderful quote is in volume 1 if you're looking for it. Cheryl says she took a carload of clothes to the free store. Very good.
Very good. And that's another thing. When you're going through this stuff.
High-fiving you. High five. High five.
When you're going through this stuff, if you have bags to put the trash in and bags to put the stuff you're getting rid of or taking to the thrift store. And as soon as you get that trash bag filled up, march it out to the bin. Just take it straight out to the bin immediately. When you get that bag for the thrift store filled up, don't leave it sitting in the room. March that bag. Either put it in your car because you're going to take it immediately, or at least set it in a designated corner of the garage that you're going to put everything until you can get it loaded into the car. But take it out right away. Visually, it'll make you feel so much better to see that room emptying of all these things. And if you leave all these mounds of trash bags and stuff in there, it's not going to help you quite as much.
Okay.
More questions?
Kathy says, I find it hard to throw away t-shirts, and I also have a lot of long sleeve tees that are just like brand new. I stocked up before I retired so I wouldn't have to buy any for the next 5 to 10 years. Anyway, the clothes are like brand new. So you didn't actually give a question. So Kathy, if you actually have a question on that, I mean, what are you saying? Where do I store them? Then I would just put them in a tote or a container and keep them for the next 10 years.
If you're going to store them.
Yeah.
If not, pick out a reasonable amount that you'll use, that you think you'll use. If you feel like you're overwhelmed with them and have too much, then cut it down. Even if you cut it down by a few, it'll help. And if they're nice, think of it this way. Women's shelters, places like that, thrift stores, they can use those instead of you just hoarding them in your closet. And not necessarily hoarding, but, keeping excessive amount in your closet. Give them away to somebody that can actually use them then, if you don't want that many.
Shannon just donated a whole garbage bag of clothes yesterday. Good
Way
job.
to go.
Her closet
Yeah.
looks fabulous.
Oh, good.
Looks fabulous. Okay, next tips, Mother.
Oh, next tips. Here's some things that you can do to help kind of once you get it organized or to keep it organized, they're all kind of mixed together a little bit. If you find when you're taking the trash out of like a room and you see there's an excessive amount of trash, like in one area, Kleenexes and bags and stuff like that.
Pop cans, whatever.
Yeah. You might think about, well, maybe I should put a trash can there, a small trash can there, because then your family will start throwing it in. If they're sitting in that chair, they'll automatically put it in there. That will save you a lot of time and energy. Do that in different rooms. Think, do I need a trash can here? Will this help? If you find piles of trash as you're picking up this stuff. Another thing is your trash can always overflowing? Do you have mounds of trash sitting on each side? Now, as I say that, I've got 2 cartons sitting by my trash can at home, but I do have a reason for that. But, if you find the trash can overflowing, that means you need to take it out every day or even sometimes twice a day.
You may need a bigger trash can. Like for us, we have this really cool trash can that you pull out under our sink, but it's only like 8 gallons instead of the normal 13 that we've always had at every other house. Well, when I go to yank out the bar and put in a new bar, I think I'm not going to have the fancy dancy pull-out thing. I think I'm just going to leave the bar overhang and get our 13-gallon trash bag can back.
Yeah.
So figure out what's
problem. Causing it. Yeah.
And is there a solution to it? Either take it out twice a day or maybe you need a bigger trash can.
See, like mine, I have stuff sitting by my trash can now in this house, which I've never done before, because I have to walk outside across the driveway and then up the side of the house in order to get to the big trash can. And I have snow piled and ice and everything piled there. And I don't want to have to walk through all that. Well, maybe I could pull the trash can inside to the corner of the garage. Think of things of how to do this, make it easier and better. Oh, here's a good one. Check your cabinets out. And this is organizing, just doing a little bit at a time. Do you open up a certain cabinet and all the dishes, plasticware fall on top of you? Get it under control. You don't need 35 plastic slushy cups from the convenience store. Get it down. Probably 15 at the most would do any family, I would think. I only personally had 3, but get it down to a reasonable amount. Sort through. Okay, I had a stack of about 10 plates in my kitchen cabinet. I'm the only one that eats there at my house. I very rarely have company. So why do I have a stack of 10 plates in my cabinet? I could narrow it down to about 3-4 plates because I wash my dishes every day. So I don't need to have a whole bunch of plates like that in there. I could maybe take the rest of them and put in the garage where I'm not cluttering up my good cabinet space that I use every day. And so think of ways like that, that you can go through. Mugs. Everybody loves mugs nowadays. Well, instead of having a whole big cabinet full, maybe store your Christmas mugs in a separate area that you don't hire shelf or something like that, and get them out at Christmas and then rotate them with your spring mugs and stuff like that. But sort through. Do you have 40 forks in your, silverware drawer and you only have 5 people over at the most for dinner or whatever at times? So start thinking this stuff through and analyzing what you have and how much you actually need. That type of stuff.
Okay, let's see. We got here, Francis says, what do you think about reselling things and how do you go about it? So I think that's fine to resell things. What I would do is just pile it all in one corner, take all the pictures you need, go ahead and file it. Now, if it's less than $25, I probably wouldn't resell it unless you just really, really need the money. But, you can make that decision. So just pile it all in a corner. Then one day just go through and make all the pictures and all the listings and everything. And that's how I would do with that. Tanya wants to know, what are our thoughts on recycling? I want to do good, but it does create clutter when I can't take it. So if you have to take recycling somewhere, I wouldn't mess with it. If you have recycling at your house, like they have a separate bin or whatever, then just keep it in that bin. But if you actually have to take recycling somewhere, stop buying that stuff then. If you have to take it somewhere then and you're feeling guilty about using it, I would just stop buying that much product, like if it's soda cans or whatever.
And I'm glad you brought that up because
What she's saying is also that it stresses her out trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's stressing you out getting rid of it, I would
Then toss it.
just throw it
you
away.
throw it away. You know,
A lot of what people don't know now is a lot of trash companies sort at the trash place anyway.
yeah.
So
And a lot of this stuff is now, what is it, degradable or whatever. You know, it'll disintegrate more than you realize. And so you really don't need to. But be careful with recycling. If you're starting to be careful with how much stuff you buy, and you're getting out of debt, you know, and you're being more responsible in that direction, you're going to find you have less stuff to recycle because you're trying to use your stuff, start using your stuff up, and then you'll get out of debt and you won't have as much junk around, you know, the house and stuff like that. But be careful on the recycling. I know a woman one time, she was obsessed about recycling, and she had large cans that she was going to recycle, like green bean cans, that type of thing. Her milk cartons, she was going to recycle those. Cereal boxes. I mean,
she had a lot of kids and it was a mess.
Yeah, she was just obsessed about. But what she did, she just tossed them all on the floor in her kitchen dining room area. It was so bad. The chairs would get stuck. You couldn't get out from the kitchen table because of the avalanche of the stuff, the empty milk cartons all around on the floor. You couldn't walk across her floor without kicking all this stuff. She was more worried about saving the environment than cleaning her own home. And you've got to be careful about that because once again, your family should come first. And if this is your type of recycling, it's kind of a problem. And your house is a mess. I mean, she had boxes of trash, appliance boxes of trash, because she wanted to sort through to recycle that smelled and that was just taking up cluttered room in her house. So sometimes we get so worried about saving the future that you're not taking care of the present.
You're not taking care of stuff
and
now.
It's because you don't want to take care of the present. It sounds more noble, and it seems like you don't have to face your own home and your own situation and the stress from that. And so you concentrate on saving the environment more. And no, I'm not saying everybody does this, but I'm just saying be aware that you don't go to that direction. You know, it's excessive. It's excessive. Anytime you do things excessively, it's not good for you.
Ooh, Dawn says she made the chocolate pudding recipe, Dining on a Dime Volume 1. And also used our baking powder recipe for the buns and pancakes. Baking mix, I think is what she meant. That's a really good baking mix recipe, by the way, even if I do say so myself. She said our homemade recipes have helped her save money in lockdown tight here in Canada. Wow,
I
Dawn,
love to hear
that's
that.
great.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, let's see. The one thing my state does well, recycling bins and waste collection. Yeah, I mean, it's fine if they do that.
You know, but if you're
Mhm.
not keeping your house organized and clean because of the doing recycling, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Greatest ever. I tried cleaning and organizing a hoarder's house multiple times, poured my time and attention into it over and over again. Would it be clean for a few months and right back the way it was? So, Mother, do you have any experience with that?
I do have a lot of experience with that.
Actually, we both have a lot of experience with that. And it's an issue. I'm trying to be delicate because my family watches the show, but you know who you are. And my father's side of the family has major hoarding issues. And so over the years, like my grandfather would have the city. I mean, he had stuff literally going out into the street.
Garage was filled, so he opened the garage door and then it would just
fill the driveway, and it was all over the street, and the city was on him. And so the family would come over and help. And they would go right back to it again. And he would just go right back to it. And he would be to the point where, tell them about sorting the screws.
Oh, you have to imagine a garage that's packed from floor to ceiling and all sides of the wall. And you literally are digging your way up the driveway into the garage. sorting through tons and tons of tools and all kinds of weird stuff, lots and lots of stuff. And you're working hard all day long. And we'd gotten everything cleaned out to the bare floor. And so we were trying to sweep the floor up, and get it. It was sawdust on the floor, and there was bent up screws and all kinds of rusted screws and everything. And I had a dustpan. Now I know how important screws are because I was in manufacturing, and I had my own amount of screws for that type of thing. So I know this stuff can be important, especially to guys. But there are certain points where you have to let some things go. And we were sweeping up sawdust and shavings and all this paper stuff into this dustpan all over the floor. And it was piles of it. And in it was a few little screws and nails. My father-in-law just flipped out because I was going to just dump it all in the trash. And he wanted me to take and sit down and sort through, or stand and sort through all of that sawdust and gook and pick out those few nails. It didn't matter that he had sacks and boxes of the same type of nails and screws sitting in the garage. He wanted me to pick all those few little screws out. And it was just, it's a very emotional problem.
Okay, here's the thing. It's a mental illness.
But it can be taken.
Go ahead.
You can do something about it.
You can do something about it. I'm sorry. I'm praying for a moment. We have dealt with this in our family. My dad was this way.
Although he was good, I wouldn't let him do it in the house or anything.
No, but when you guys separated, I remember when we came back, it was bad.
Yeah.
And my grandfather, extended family members, I totally get this. It's an excuse. I'm sorry. Hoarding is a mental illness, but just like everything else, you need to just get up and do it. And it's hard and it's overwhelming. I have the same gene. And I tell you, every time I go to organize something, I think I'm going to have a stroke because it stresses me out so bad. But you know what? I do it anyway. It took me an hour and a half to organize my junk drawer that I hadn't got organized since we moved. And I thought I was going to have a complete breakdown just organizing the junk drawer. But you do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And the problem is these people call their friends and family in to help them. Mm-hmm. And then they micromanage it so bad that you can't get anything done. That is where then the friends and family have to stand up and say, no,
do it.
I'm not doing this. Mm-hmm. Mom, no offense, mother, was totally wrong for sitting there with grandpa and saying, sure, I'll organize all these screws. And now you know better now.
I didn't. I dumped the screws out.
Oh, well, that time. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
I didn't. And I only did it one time for him. Yeah. I never did it again. I thought we were helping him.
No. And well, that's what I was going to say. After that, if you help someone, do not
do it again.
Do not do it again.
No.
Do not. I don't care if the city is condemning their house and they are having to go to a nursing home. If they do not want to take the initiative to get started and get going on some of this until you see some initiative from them, they're not going to change.
The thing you don't realize is you're hurting them by helping them. It's like somebody that does drugs and they say, I need help. I need more drugs. Can you and you give them more, you give them the drugs.
Buying alcohol for an alcoholic. Buying pizza for a diabetic.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously.
That's what it is. It is really, you're helping them with their addiction, with their mental illness. You're making it worse. It's the same way that we do sympathy. You feel sympathetic for somebody and feel sorry for them. Well, they just feed on that. That's different. Empathy, you've heard me say it a million times. You can have empathy and understanding and feel bad, but sympathy just makes them wallow.
Yep.
And makes them dependent on you and stuff like that.
And I'll tell you, I helped move a hoarder family member and come to find out that they were lying to me about some stuff. And we were fairly close. And they went right back to what they were doing. And I was like, wait a minute. You lied to me while I was helping. I killed myself. I mean, I was physically sick. I was so sick that day. I thought I am not going to be able to drive home. And it was an hour and a half drive home. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. BJ wasn't able to drive yet. He was with me and I was there and we didn't have another car. And I was like, what are we going to do? So I sat there and tried to recover a little bit. And then a little while later, I found out that they had lied to me. And after I had moved all this hoarding stuff for them to help them. And the person, it's no big deal. No, it's a very big deal. Let me tell you guys, when these people are using and manipulating you, that's exactly what they're doing. They're using and manipulating you. And I completely severed a relationship with that person. And that person keeps every funeral, every whatever, keeps coming back. Well, you have to forgive me. No, I have forgiven you. But I'm not going to go back in that situation and have you use me again. It's not going to happen. And if your relationship with me means so little to you that you're willing to treat me that way, there is no relationship. You don't have a relationship with that person. And I'm sorry I'm being firm on this, but you have got to stop treating hoarders like they're just mentally ill. Yes, they're mentally ill, but they can do something about it if they actually wanted to.
Yeah.
Because when there's something they really want to do, somehow they're able to manage to do that.
Even Dad, like Tara's dad now, he didn't have that problem to that extent. He had a lot of stuff, but it wasn't really super bad when we were married and together. It's only when we separated and came back that it gotten out of control. So he was able to control this for years while we were married with no problem. So that tells you it can be controlled, if it's really something that's important to you. But I want you to listen to what Tara was saying, how she was saying that. Do you realize, for you to totally understand how much stress this stuff that you're hoarding, or not even hoarders, if you've just got an excessive amount of stuff in your home that you're keeping, you're not using, and you'll never use, and you're just, because you're overwhelmed and you don't want to bother with it, do you see how much stress this causes on a family? I mean, I want you to think about that. You better get serious that it's not just your house is a mess. It's hurting people. It's hurting people. People that will grow up and be hurt for the rest of their lives because you were overwhelmed and you didn't want to get things organized and you didn't want to run your home smoothly and with
And you are
order.
so self-centered that all you care about is yourself and no one else. I'm sorry. You can call me judgmental all you want. I have dealt with these people for the last 50 years of my life. And let me tell you, they can control it when they want to. And I'm sorry. I know this touches a nerve for me, but as the person helping them, you have got to stop feeling guilty if you don't help them the next time they call you because the city's about to condemn their house.
And see, this is why cycles never get broken.
Yeah, because you allow it to happen.
Keep doing. Everybody's been raised this way, and you feel guilty, and they manipulate you, and all this, and your children and their children. It's just somebody has to stop it, or your family's going to just disintegrate. And this family, a lot of families do disintegrate because of these types of things.
And here's how you can tell if a person actually is willing to change. You say, I will come over and help you when I see 30 bags of trash sitting on your front yard.
Yeah.
A person, I don't care how disabled they are, can do 30 bags of trash in a month if they are a hoarder. And you say, when I see 30 bags of trash sitting on your front lawn, I will come over and help you. Until then, I'm not helping you.
You're not helping people.
You're not helping them.
If you're just doing all the work for them, everything for them. It's like, what is that saying about you feed a person a fish, and they eat for one day and you teach them to fish and they can feed themselves for life. And it's the same type of thing. You go over there and clean. Well, they're not going to ever learn to get out of this cycle. That's why they keep cycling, because you keep feeding it.
If they are just so completely disabled that they can't do anything at all, then you say, okay, when you have been in counseling for 2 months, I will come over and help you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know if they're actually serious. And
I
someone
think we're
says
getting comments on
when
that.
they are alone and depressed, it's hard. Suck it up, Buttercup. Life is hard. Nobody said life is not going to be hard. You do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. You know, everybody says, well, it used to be so much easier years ago, and it was so less stressful years ago. I don't know if nobody's had history or anything. It wasn't easier. I don't care what generation you're in. There's some kind of stress that generation has to deal with. Whether you grew up in World War II and you had to deal with wars, horrible wars and stuff like that, concentration camps, or during the Depression where they had nothing. I'm sorry. Every generation had. I grew up in the 60s during the Vietnam War and all this garbage. I mean, there's just one thing after another. Stop making these excuses. You know, everybody gets discouraged. Everybody gets depressed. The difference between successful people and failures is the successful people get over it. They know that they have to. Okay, I tell you what, one thing that helps people with depression, and I'm not talking clinical depression. Don't come in with all the chemical stuff and all the we're not talking. We're not talking that, but most people are just depressed because of their personality, or that's whatever. If you're suffering from depression, you say, well, I get so depressed I can't get up and do anything. You get a clock. You set your clock for 15 minutes, and you sit there and think, I'm going to sit here and be depressed 15 minutes. And I want you to sit there, and I want you to be really depressed for 15 minutes. And when that clock hits 15 minutes, then you think, okay, it's over. I'm going to stand up and do something. You try it. I bet you if you set that clock, you won't be able to be depressed for 15 minutes because you're watching it trying to think, I got to be depressed now. And before you know it, you won't be depressed near as much as what you normally are. There's things to do. You can get up and, get over it, really.
Yeah.
And don't think we're not sympathetic and we don't understand and we've never been there and done that. This is why we can say this, because between Tara and I, we have been there and done that in so many different ways, in different directions, that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I don't have an addiction to cough drops. I'm sick. We all have been sick this week, so I just am trying to keep my throat going.
In other words, she has felt horrible, but she still is getting up, doing life. Stop saying this, I can't do this, or this is too hard. No, you get up and you do life anyway.
A mission for truth. Any one of us could be lazy, labeled depressed, labeled lonely, etc. We don't. We get a job. We get done by pulling up the bootstraps. Just because you don't want to do it, so what?
Or you don't feel like doing it.
I don't feel like doing 95% of the stuff I
know,
do.
I don't either.
But I do it anyway. Linda says, what's really bad is when the hoarder lives in your house. My mother is 95 and it's a huge issue of stress. Well, she needs to keep it to her room or something like that. You're going to have to
make arrangements, and
you're gonna have to
come to a compromise of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're going to have to figure something out for that. Married into where the deceased wife had tons of knickknacks and closets full of Christmas, not to mention years of paper trail. Never used appliances. I am putting cooking tools to use. It's overwhelming. Well, then you just start cleaning out one section at a time.
Like we keep saying, just don't look at the whole thing. Just take one area and keep working your way around.
Yeah. Yes, dear. Did you have one or something?
No,
okay. Well, we talked about food costs and inflation. We talked about that like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So go back in those videos and you can check those out.
You may have already answered them, but earlier someone asked about attic clean out and organization.
Oh yeah, I was going to answer that question.
Marla
wants to know, how do you clean out? Whoops, I lost anyway.
How about attic clean out and organization?
How do you clean out an attic and organize an an attic, just the same way you
yeah,
do
the
anything
same
else.
way you do the rest of the house.
Yeah.
You know, just take it one box at a time,
Yeah.
go through the stuff, get rid of what you can, take it out of the attic, the stuff you're getting rid of, and then just keep
And I
doing
would
it.
make sure that the stuff that you actually do keep in the attic, keep it in totes or big black trash bags or something, so it doesn't get so dusty. 'cause the
Dusty and dirty,
attic's
yeah.
really bad about that.
Yeah. So the stuff won't get dirty when you do it.
I don't know if you answered it, but Michelle asks, how do you part ways with sentimental items and clothes? I have so much, but can't narrow it down.
How do you
I
part
like to keep
ways with
everything.
sentimental items and clothes? How do you narrow it down? I can't seem to part with anything. Well, first of all, what I would think is, if my house was on fire, what would I save?
Yeah.
That would be your first question. And then everything after that, I wouldn't save it. And I mean, like I said, you can make a quilt out of some clothes that are.
I had a velvet skirt that I
Yeah.
loved, you know, for years and years. My first long velvet skirt. I made pillows out of it that I use at Christmas time. You can do that with the clothes and stuff like that. But, you know, is the sentimental value stuff, the feelings you get when you think of that, those are wonderful and good feelings. But are they causing stress feelings in other areas? I mean, are you getting stressed because you don't have room to store things? Which is more important, the fuzzy, warm feelings you get from that dress, or the stressful feelings those clothes are causing you from storing so much and dealing with it and keeping them clean, or, you know, finding space to store them? Which is more important? Which is causing more? Do you have more stress from that, or from, you know, storing the clothes? Do you have fuzzy feelings? So you have to choose that. You can keep that stuff if you want, but if it's causing you stress and fighting in the family between family members, or you're just a headache from trying to organize it, I don't think those warm, fuzzy feelings would be enough for me to save them compared to the stress. Pick out 2 or 3 of your favorites, maybe a wedding dress, your first prom dress. You can pick out 4, maybe 5, and store those away. Get rid of the rest. You don't, sometimes I think we got to get rid of everything. You know, we can't keep any of it. You keep a handful, you know, what you have room for. As far as stuff that you have, like heirlooms and stuff, I always make sure that it is an heirloom, first of all. You know, you guys have heard me do the Uncle Henry's driftwood. I mean, it was passed down. Uncle Henry's driftwood was passed down from generation to generation because this was a family heirloom. Come to find out, generations later, somebody found out it was just a stick that Uncle Henry threw his dog when he'd take him for a walk. Be sure that it's really a family heirloom. Don't you keep all of them.
Actually, it's funny, on that same thing, somebody earlier was asking about her mom keeps giving her all this stuff, and she's wondering what to do with it. A lot of times people give you things that aren't really heirlooms because they feel guilty about throwing them away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you think they're an heirloom,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you feel like you have to keep them.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if they can do
Mike said, you know, they feel guilty about their parents giving them heirlooms all the time. A lot of times the parents just feel guilty about throwing it away, so they hand it down to you, and then
It's not
you're
really-
And
stuck
they're not
with
really
it.
an heirloom.
It's not really an heirloom, and so
So you've got to just kind of be brave. Keep the important, the stuff that really you can use, that you can treasure. Because if you have too much stuff, nothing's a treasure anymore. You
Mhm.
know, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything. It's just becomes a burden, not a treasure. And you don't want that to happen. So kind of be ruthless and brave, and, you know, get rid of some of the stuff.
Robin says, "Ooh, they're passing on their heirlooms to get rid of their guilt." That's what it
Yeah,
is, and
yeah.
their guilt is not your guilt.
Mhm.
Well, and if nobody in the family wants it, then is it really an heirloom?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, if you've got 2 or 3 generations that you're offering it to and none of them want it, then it's probably
Mm-hmm.
not that much of a treasure.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's parents are doing that. Yeah, I know everybody's parents are doing that. I have a truckload full of stuff. Won't mention.
What did I give you?
Oh, I don't need that vanity. Oh, I don't need that sewing
Oh,
machine.
that's right. I forgot about those.
I'm only keeping it because I can't get rid of it.
Forgot about. Well, it was 3 pieces of little furniture.
Little.
Actually, it's mine. You're pretty good about that, thankfully.
See, she
real now.
falsely accused me. She falsely accused me.
You did do that though,
I did do that, but
but you're not like giving me stuff all
No.
the time. A little bit of Sandra says I cut ties with many of the treasures by taking a picture of them. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine. You can do that. You don't have to do it. Jennifer, is it worth paying for storage?
No.
That's how you can determine if stuff is worth it. If I had to pay for storage, is it worth it?
Mhm.
No. Usually
That's a good way to do it.
90% of the
Figure it.
time it's not.
And the mental stress is more than the storage cost.
Yeah, the mental
it's
stress,
the
yeah.
mental stress, and you
Yeah.
know, great grandma, I don't think would be happy if she knew you were stressed out
I would
trying
bring
to.
her on and ask her.
Oh yeah, my mom's here. She is a great grandma, but great grandma would not be happy if she knew the things she gave you was stressing you out more than making you happy and giving you pleasure. When you think about it, if I give my kids stuff, I don't want it to be a burden to them and to stress them out. I want them to enjoy it. If they're not going to enjoy it, I just send them, give it to a family member or, do something else with it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So speaking of stuff, since I'm not a minimalist, thank you, Kathy, for sending this super cute gnome shower curtain.
It's even got the
I know,
gnome.
it's even got the gnome hooks. Thank you, Kathy. I absolutely, oops, can I get it open? I should have. Well, I can't get it out here.
Can you show
Can you
a picture
see
of
the
it?
cute little gnome? Can you see the gnomes? Aren't those cute?
Oh, they're very cute.
They're adorable.
And then this one is from Jennifer. Oh,
She's
my
been so
goodness.
excited getting her gnomes. It's been unbelievable.
Jennifer sent
Oh,
me this
wow.
and gnome towels. They must have got them from the same place because they're the same thing. Right there. Gnome L. Isn't
Oh,
that
look at
cute?
this bowl. That is cute.
So thank you, Jennifer. I greatly appreciate it. That is too super cute. So thank you guys. We are still getting all the Christmas presents. And we did get the check from More Craft. I can't remember your name. And we got another check for Bibles. Thank you guys. We got both of those. We have been giving away Bibles like crazy. So thank you so much for your help with that. All right. Katie says, my mom gives me bags of random socks and lotions that I used in junior high. I'm now 29. Just let it go. Guys, when you're doing all this, just sing, let it go, let it go. I don't need it anymore. Just play the Frozen
Over and
theme
over.
song over
you.
and over again, and then you'll know. Josie says, we moved a year and a half ago and we've been paying $90 a month for storage. I keep shaming my husband for paying for junk every month. Now he's slowly sorting it out. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one thing if you have a storage shed for something like BJ has a storage shed for the Model A that, that's
his great grandpa's Model A.
That's something that would be valuable for
He
a
loves
storage
it.
shed.
He uses it.
Yeah.
He takes care of it. It's a real treasure to him.
Yeah.
Now, if he had that whole thing stuff full of other things that he never used, didn't even know was in there, that's a different story.
Yeah, and so that's when it's just stuff in there, and you don't even remember what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it is. Okay, guys. Planners, we still have planners, but I think we're going to stop selling them January 31st. So if you want a 2022 planner, go get that. Our Dining on a Dime cookbooks, guys, 25% off right now. Mike's putting the links on. And all these tips are in the description below that you can get. Also, we are not going to be here next week. Mike and I are headed to Utah for a YouTube conference. So we are going for that, and we will see you in 2 weeks from tonight. And visit us at livingonadime.com. We will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. That doesn't stop yet.